Welcome back to our continuing coverage here at Davos Worldwide for our Davos 2026 conference, the Founders and Leaders Forum. Um, we just heard another very interesting panel, and I want to introduce the next panel, which is to focus on energy transition and to look at kind of where are we in this phase. And it's a continuing discussion that we've had for the last three segments that really focuses on without government incentive, how do we take things forward in energy transition, especially when it comes to renewable energy, efficiencies, and in power storage. So with that, I'm going to bring up Michelle Voss and Rudy and Marcus, and they are going to talk a little bit more about energy transition. So it's my pleasure to introduce or reintroduce Michelle Voss. She will be the moderator for this panel. So Michelle, looking forward to a great panel. And gentlemen, thank you so much for joining.
Thank you very much, Anand. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you, Davos Worldwide, and all Davos attendees. It is a great pleasure to introduce this panel with Rudy Chimo III and Marcus Cintas, primarily focusing on getting projects completed here in the US and globally, but primarily focusing on supporting rapid development and what people are not really thinking about. And I will hand it over to introduce yourselves, gentlemen. Rudy, feel free to kick off.
Hello, all. Thank you for joining. Just wanted to, start this off casually. Rudy Chimo, Wolves Development Group, and Marcus Cintas. We're a powerful team in the industry, working on various projects in different verticals, all pertaining to energy. And we're happy to kind of go over the direction of the industry, where it's going, a lot of the types of issues, bottlenecks, things that people are coming across that aren't exposed to. They didn't realize this or that was going to come up, and pretty much just educate and then go into the value that we bring to the table. So Marcus, I'll let you speak next, and you could take it from here for the next leg.
Yeah, sure. Nice to meet everybody and speak with you all today. In 2026, energy and resource landscape, it's a collision of growth where explosive power demand from the AI and data centers it's forcing a massive shift in how we finance, distribute, and manufacture energy onshoring here in the United States. The One Big Beautiful Bill Act it's fundamentally reshaped financial timelines. There's a massive safe harbor rush that everyone experienced at the end of last year for developers to enter a build fast mode, right? So projects that started before 2026, they're all rushed to lock in legacy tax credits. The material assistance from safe harboring from China is a really big deal. So any battery energy storage projects that started before 26, no more than 55% of them now can have direct material costs from China. So that safe harbor window it ended January 1st here this year. So it's a big deal to now onshore our domestic manufacturing.
Yeah, and I think Marcus, a lot of the experience that you and I are having in the field, working with our team is, there's a lot of people waiting on the sidelines. They're thinking, everything's exploding. Let's go ahead and wait. And there's really no time to wait. I mean, I feel we're in a 15-year window. We've got three markers. We've got red hot, we've got orange medium, and we've got green calm. And right now we're in the red hot. Everyone's rushing to market with lots of money. They're selling their companies, what have you. They're coming to the table with hundreds of millions of dollars or billions. They're wanting to rush into the data center space, and other various spaces in the private sector. A lot of the public sector has already kind of been on board for quite a while to understand how to manage their energy, keep their costs down, track their labor and compliance workforces, and really keep things efficient for that. Now, with the private, people are just rushing. I mean, we came across a contact that they built a bomber, but they didn't think through on how to get the gas to the bomber, and the expense was astronomical. So, a lot of people need to think through about, okay, I'm getting into this space. it's gangbusters. Another group that we're working with is working on 8 different projects for data center sites they want to control and operate. But 2 of those sites are really well put together, and so when groups are coming out with a lot of money behind them, a lot of firepower, you got to think about, okay, what is the lowest hanging fruit? Let's focus on getting that solved and executed and finalized, and then on to the next ones. Because if you go too wide and you just throw a bunch of money at things, there's going to be a lot of mistakes, a lot of cost overruns you're not expecting, and it's going to be painful. So with that all being said, Marcus, I'll let you kind of go into more of those kind of issues that we've come across, and
Yeah.
then we'll switch over.
Yeah, I mean, that's right, Rudy. Data centers become the primary driver of US electricity demand here. It's growing at its fastest rate since 2020. It's absolutely exploding. We're not just building megawatt sites anymore. These are gigawatt digital cities, basically, right? Over 30% of all the new data center projects are going to be targeting at 1 gigawatt of capacity, equivalent of city of San Francisco, right? So the risk is shifting. It's a financial risk is moved from a resource risk. Is it sunny, right? To delivery risk. Can I actually get this electron as a developer to the data center hyperscaler? So how we do that is we need to have firm service dates for delivery of power, and the guarantee of a powered shell. If you can do that, then you can get a compute contract with AWS's Metas of the world, and then ultimately that's your project financeability. The ERCOT market in Texas is the epicenter right now because they can move faster on interconnection, but those interconnection bottlenecks and timelines are difficult anywhere, even in ERCOT. So the real way to do that is the evolving fluid method is behind the meter on-site power generation, right? Using reciprocal turbines and steam take waste heat and the full balance of plant and generate your own power. So, but then that leads into supply chain issues, which we have a good grasp on, working with distributors and everything to shorten those timelines up, because a 6-month period delay, or if you can reduce having a powered shell by 6 months, that's an additional, call it $15 million a month in data center revenue. So there's costs and pros and cons and benefits to doing it yourself.
Yeah, I believe Marcus on one of the projects. I mean, we're having we're sourcing and have sourced some turbines coming over from overseas. So what does that look like? It's about the deposits, and then it's final payment, and the runway of time to ship it over on the boats here, and get it in. So a lot of people aren't thinking through about the turbines, or the microgrid equipment, or the batteries even, because there's only so many people that build batteries, along with the transformers, and so what we see happening with in the industry is, I'm a big history guy. I like to track history. And if you remember in COVID, Elon Musk, one of the things he did was he wrapped up a contract, I believe it was with NVIDIA or another chip manufacturer, for 3 years out before COVID hit. So when COVID hit, everybody was scrambling for chips, if some of you remember, and everyone's just going crazy trying to find, and he just kept moving. And that's what you're going to start seeing in this industry, is a bottleneck of these type of pieces of equipment, and everyone's going to be scrambling, and projects are going to be stalled out. They're a lot of it's going to affect the banking and investment funds and different things. So you really have to understand and really have a good target of when to execute at the right timeline for your phases, for the right equipment to come in. Start doing this stuff before. If you want to secure the land, get your permits. You want to have capital sitting in the bank. You want to have good partners, like we have in our group. We have one of the largest GCs in the country that can handle pretty much any type of project nationwide, high level, along with a couple other very large funds that we help bring in and fund capital into projects for the energy side of things. and even some other relationships we have high level for debt and equity if that's needed. And so we put together this toolbox of power to come in and solve any problems you have and build these things out nationwide at speed, but in the right time intervals, because we're really thinking through. Marcus, your expertise on time is unbelievable, and that's why we've had the successes we've had.
Yeah, definitely. And, it even leads into hacking and cybersecurity issues. It's constantly we're at threat from China, whether it's the grid taking out substations or trying to find backdoors into our data centers by hiding bugs inside the actual computer chips and parts. So that's why, again, that's onshoring of American-made products from everything, breakers, like I said, transformers. The battery energy storage systems is crucial. We have to build digital fortresses here by only using trusted American hardware. Every person, every machine has to prove their identity every single time. We have an affiliate called ArcLeap that helps with this. It actually increases not only cybersecurity but the efficiency of the power centers. I mean, because the grid's really it's really the bottleneck of the century is what we're experiencing now. It's national security focus. The year of 2026 is going to be the beginning of the year of grid modernization. So, many areas are zero available capacity for new demand. So there's things that maybe you've seen the MGM casino article that just came out in Las Vegas, where it's a virtual power purchase agreement to get all. So they say they're getting all their power from solar, and how is that possible when the sun's only shining 6 hours a day? So basically just all that power goes into the grid from a offsite call it 1 gigawatt solar farm, and they buy that power. So things are evolving. Renewable energy is, if done correctly, can hit all the ESG goals and transferability of tax credits. And it all starts with behind the meter power and generation, because the grid just can't support everything that's planned.
So I wanted to ask a little bit more about that behind the meter, and if you can elaborate for anyone listening who wants to actually learn more, who might not currently be engaged and wants to expand in this direction and really start to power up for rapid development. Could you elaborate a little bit more on what it is to have behind the meter and basically a short roadmap that someone can actually start to follow?
Yeah, I mean, the pre-development timeline, if you've done it before, can be expedited relatively quickly. But you're still going to have interconnection issues. But if you want to do true islanding, it is capital intensive for a 100 megawatt data center to do a behind the meter gas power. You can have your batteries, reciprocating engines, steam turbines, stuff like that to take the waste heat. I mean, that's like a $350 million project. So might take about $5 million to do pre-development on that. If you're a developer and you do have, let's say, investor or your war chest is able to do that, you have a site, it's got fiber, water, it's within 60-mile proximity to a major metro, and you have a good development team, then you get it to ready to build or notice to proceed status, and we can bring in 100% of the energy infrastructure financing with that. So then not only the thermal energy for heating and cooling for the data centers, for instance, but also to sell and deliver electrons. So that's obviously we would need some sort of investment grade off-taker, right? Typically these big data center tier 1 through 4 would have that credit. So we're there to support that and develop any providing development assistance as well. But really, it's kind of, as Rudy was mentioning before, just one individual 100 megawatt site, which is, like I said, a $350 million development. It takes a lot of planning and resources and experience. And we've seen a lot of these developers want to do 8 or 10 of these sites at one time. And it's in the billions, right? So my suggestion is focus on 1 or 2 and, maybe come to us for any advice or consulting, and then we can bring in, to get your project to the finish line to actually build it with the 100% financing.
Yeah, and Marcus, just to kind of ping on what all of that, data centers is just one vertical. I mean, we're involved with stadium projects, hospitals, multifamily, anything that consumes a lot of energy. That's our space. And other verticals as well, but energy is the big leader right now into these verticals, and everyone is scrambling. So, you know, um, you know not just greenfield projects, but we also look at a lot of brownfield projects. Companies. We've had calls with various companies that are like, "Hey, we've got 6 hospitals in our portfolio." It's like, well, listen, we'll come in and we'll do a audit of the equipment, and we'll buy the energy asset and cut you a check. So these are ways of getting capital into your portfolio to help move that capital into maybe some of your greenfield projects or other ideas that you have within the organization. So we're a very agnostic team, and a lot of our calls and projects we're involved in, people are just like, we just didn't know about this, or we didn't know this was available, and so we're really and in the beginning here, in a good position.
Yeah.
And so I just wanted to kind of add to what you were saying, Marcus, because this is the future, regardless of what's happening. Is we need energy is what it's all about.
Yeah, no, I'm glad you brought that up. Especially a huge target focus for us is hospitals and campus projects. Really a lot of the fundamental infrastructure is steam district energy, right? And these hospitals and campuses have a lot of dollars, millions of dollars trapped into their boilers, chillers, electrical switchgear. And those dollars can and should be monetized over a new upgrade, analyze, do an audit, like you're saying, of their current assets.
Mhm.
What needs to be upgraded, modernized. It extracts those dollars under new energy service agreement. Come in, there's a risk transfer of the assets, performance guarantees, and then spend that money on oncology expansion, or a new academic facility, or a new wing, right? Or a cancer wing, let's say. So it's 24/7 mission critical requirements that our affiliate partner would come in and do that. Treat your central plant as a strategic financial asset rather than a depreciating liability is really what it is. So, have these hospital institutions and networks receive immediate infusions of capital, move from a CapEx heavy model to a more predictable OpEx model. Like I said, performance guarantees, budget certainty, a real levelized cost of energy improves your ROI in your hospital or campus. I mean, it applies to universities as well, stadiums, as you mentioned. So that's really the shift in the focus is, we're always talking about the electrons, but really steam and central plants and turbines are something that's overlooked a lot. And we call them thermal energy networks or district energy. There's a big push involved in ground source heat pumps with geothermal, which takes a lot of market education to understand boreholes and drilling. And but there's a coefficient of performance there that even though maybe upfront it's a little more CapEx intensive, there's 30, 40, 50% tax credits, and then your like I said, your coefficient of performance goes way higher than a traditional outside chiller, and things of that nature.
Yeah, and one of the groups that we're working closely with that just got done with 6 greenfield projects, and they're like, how do we, is there something that you guys can help us with this? It's like, yeah, we can come in and we'll take over that energy and cut you a check. And we'll maintain and warranty the infrastructure. And so this is the future. It's all about keeping the capital flowing and having different ways of of helping groups monetize everything that they're doing and maximize their dollar. So very exciting times. And Marcus, was there anything else that I think that we wanted to kind of go over, that maybe some of the folks on here that are watching, that we haven't talked about, pertaining to just the way the industry's going, issues, value, anything offhand that you can think of? I'm trying to think through as well. So Michelle.
kind of
Yeah.
on the note that a lot of the data center developers that we work with, they're always looking for power now, grid power now, call it 50 or 100 megawatts. But there's new legislation coming where, if you're going to be taking, let's say, 100 megawatts from the grid, you better be producing behind the meter to match that, just because of grid restraints. And it's only adopted in a few states currently, but that legislation is going to be moving across the country. So if you're planning something now that you're depending on grid power now, and 18 months from now, it could bite you in the butt.
Well, yeah. I mean, just with I think it was BlackRock and Blackstone, and now Google, they're all buying utility companies. So they want to control the grid. So if everyone's thinking, hey, I want to wait a year, it's like get locked in now with your energy infrastructure, have that set payment a month, where you don't have to worry about increases, because a lot of these, that is the grid, is the utility companies, and they're going to increase rates. So if you're waiting around, that payment now isn't going to look so good, and even 90 days, 6 months, a year out, and it's just going to keep going up and up and up. So these are the things you really need to look at. And back to you, Marcus. I just wanted to kind of throw that in there.
Yeah, I mean, it just kind of full circles of how we support the market and developers. Speed to power risk mitigation is crucial here. Site selection, helping developers identify power-rich brownfield sites. Maybe a decommissioned old data center site or a manufacturing facility, something that has power and then has gas, and regions with favorable behind the meter regulations is what we're really good at helping developers with, and then the capital stacking. A lot of these projects were arbitrage solar energy, battery energy storage projects, right? But now the new hot girl of the party is the data center world. So, but we want to connect those types of old renewable energy projects, or maybe add an NTP, or they're still in the queue for interconnection. To use those assets, what's been developed, and then also kind of hybrid in a 100% behind the meter infrastructure type approach to, or something that matches with the grid power. And then
natural gas,
yeah,
the geothermal, depending on where you're at in the country, depends on what type of source of energy that you can bring in close by.
yeah.
I mean, not just the United States, but also, we play well in Canada. So,
And then like kind of the third thing is it's I'll call it a shady market, right? Procuring the long lead items, not just the high voltage transformers. We touched on this a little bit, but you try to go out there and say, hey, I'm looking for, Baker Hughes Nova LT 16 or 16.5 megawatt reciprocal turbines, right? You're going to get a bunch of spam email from shady people, brokers trying to sell you those items. So if you're not really aligned with someone we bring to the table with actual distributors, someone that says they can get you 20 of them, at the end of the year, it's probably going to be 5 if it's even real. And, you want to make sure you have serial numbers, proof of life, and actual documentation and contracts for those supply agreements. Otherwise, you're going to get egg on your face if you don't have that type of stuff secured. So.
Yeah, and that's also including wafers and transformers and everything else, along with these long lead items. Michelle, what you had a question?
Yeah, so just in terms of the scope of this, which I think is very helpful and informative, especially for those who are ready to to lock in a little bit more with their infrastructure planning and roll up for 2026, and hopefully for the next 15 years, as you had mentioned. What type of partnerships or opportunities can people come to you for? Are you looking for anything specific with not just a client base, but actual partnerships? And what does that look like for you? What's the need, if any, and then your immediate go to action?
Well, I mean,
That's a good question. Marcus, go ahead.
I was going to say, for me, I mean, 2026 isn't limited by capital or technology. It's limited by the physicality and speed, right? To support that, we have to stop treating energy, real estate, and data as separate silos. the winners in this year, and then you got to be always thinking long term, the next 10 years. You can't just be thinking, how am I making money now? It's going to be the firms that integrate all three of those into a single speed of market type strategy. So you have to really have all the pieces put together in one strategy, or it's this gold rush, this wild west is going to pass by you faster than what Ferris Bueller likes to talk about. So.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're open to have discussions with potential JV partnerships, direct to market groups, investment firms that they have the capital, they want to go and get into this space, and they need someone to help lead them to the right sources. We have many sites around the country. We have source with energy infrastructure ready to go. So land is already teed up. Energy infrastructure is ready to go, teed up. Funding, not just with debt and equity from one of our strong partners, who's a global company, but also a couple of our funds that specifically are involved in the energy with us, for our infrastructure. So we're open to a lot of conversations to help kind of steer the ship in a direction that will get these projects going quickly, the right way, check the boxes, making sure the due diligence has been done. And we have all those capabilities. And that's why we're on here, is to really help people get it done the right way and not be sold a bunch of goods, or someone's just talking out of left field because they think they can make a quick buck over here. Relationships are our most powerful value that we have, and
let's see your power study, and so we know.
Yeah. So I mean, the relationships are our most important thing. We protect them very strongly, and we're here to help. And so, like Marcus just said, show us what you have, and we can very quickly give you a real idea of what it's going to take. So there's no BS involved. We're not going to fluff things. We're going to tell you straight up. So that's what we're about and what we do.
Amazing. And how can people connect with you guys?
You can find myself and Marcus on LinkedIn. That's the quickest way. You can message us, and it doesn't matter. You can reach out to Marcus or myself. We work very closely, obviously, day to day. That's
the good thing
really
about the good thing about our team is, besides in-house engineering, we're really experts in microgrids. That's really where my background is. Back down here in San Diego, some various projects, military related and whatnot, but pretty a hybrid agnostic approach to different technologies. Don't have to always be renewable. Combined heat and power, right? Things like that. Different energy storage technologies. Some of them involve graphene. They're going to be more onshoring, but a lot of this stuff's early. We're still in a decade of lithium is king. We're fighting China over those critical minerals, but things are getting better. I have to say, the goal is to stop China, say no to China. Let's do everything we can in the United States for national security. It's number one. We lose power, it's going to be a civil chaos here. So
we work well with quite a few government agencies. We definitely play in that space, and that's one of the biggest things is to protect our infrastructure and our grid, so when it comes to labor compliance, grants, energy funding, other type of capital funding, land, a lot of equipment. This is what we specialize in. This is what we put together to help, entities and groups and individuals succeed in this space. And this is the type of thing you need, because you can get real sideways real quick, in this space, if you're not paying attention or understanding what's going on.
Yeah. I'd say in closing on my end, if you're a developer, let's say doing a data center, don't try to do 10 at once. Just we can help you kind of filter out the one or two, maybe three that you really should put all your time, money, and attention into. Otherwise, nothing will get done. So.
Yeah, thank you, Marcus. Michelle, back to you.
Thank you. This has been incredible and very exciting, to say the least. I do want to invite Anand Singh back to rejoin us for the closing of this panel, Fireside Chat. And, thank you guys again for your time. I think it's brilliant what you're focusing on, taking the initiative for the long term, and really bringing the efforts to manufacturing energy resources and stabilizing the U.S. economy through a more strategic implementation to our nation's development. And so just want to thank you guys again, and the opportunity for Davos Worldwide and Davos 2026. I'm not sure if Anand is able to join us, but Rudy, if you have a closing statement you'd like to leave with everyone, happy to end it with that. I think Anand just joined us as well.
Yeah, I just want to say thank you for everyone for attending and hearing Marcus and I discuss the future. Very exciting times, and thank you, Anand and Michelle and Davos Worldwide, for having us on. We very much appreciate it, and very blessed to be here.
Thank you, Rudy. Thank you, Marcus, and Michelle. Thank you so much for such a great moderation. Certainly, energy transition creates a huge amount of opportunity in the marketplace. The U.S. stands to gain. Local jobs are created, and energy independence is created. So, in looking at the what you guys are offering, certainly a very big contribution, and the fact that you are not just looking at today, but you're preparing for the future as well. So, thank you once again. Greatly appreciate all of you and your time. With that, we will conclude programming for Davos 2026. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. We're happy to say that we've had over 200,000 people in certain segments, and it has been an absolute joy to see such wonderful panelists across the board, and to our special guests. Once again, thank you, everyone.